Hello and welcome to CMS Forex News. I'm market analyst Nick Nassad. Today is Tuesday, August 18, 2009. Global stocks were generally higher today following a sharp slide on Monday. That helped to reverse part of the losses that majors felt against the yen and greenback. The pound yen, for instance, rallied 285 pips from its open, pairing its losses from yesterday's session. That brought the pair back above its level of support from last week at the 156 area. The pound was also bolstered by a stronger than expected consumer inflation report. UK consumer inflation unexpectedly held at an annual pace of 1.8% in July, a signal that prices are holding firm as the economy works its way out of its current recession. The central bank has warned that inflation will miss its target, which was interpreted as a sign of weakness and has hurt the pound recently, but today's data moves against that sentiment. The core annual rate, for instance, rose to 1.8% when forecast called for a decrease. The news helped the pound-dollar pair climb 250 pips following an initial rise on the back of stronger overnight stocks. The pound managed to move above the 165 area in New York trading as rising U.S. stocks helped to fuel risk appetite. In the Eurozone, the German ZEW Economic Sentiment Index beat expectations, climbing to 56.1 in August from 39.5 in July. The jump was due to German GDP posting a positive figure for the second quarter, which led to a better assessment of the current economic situation. Following the German news, the euro-dollar hit a high for the session near 1.4150, cutting into some of yesterday's losses. However, the pair gave up some of those overnight gains in early New York trading as U.S. fundamental data was weaker than anticipated. U.S. stocks did manage to shrug off the news and rose, which gave the euro one more leg of gains. Still, overall, today's session saw less volatility than we have seen in the previous 4 sessions. Pitting the euro against the pound, we saw a sharp decline in favor of the pound as both the inflation data from the UK and the sense of risk appetite from higher stocks in Europe favored the pound in this pair. The pound paired the gains seen in the euro from a labored rally the past 5 sessions, finding support near 0.8525. News from the U.S. showed that producer prices fell more than expected in July, declining 0.9% on the month, while the core rate slid a more modest 0.1%. Energy prices were the main culprit, declining 2.4%, while food costs were down 1.5%. That reinforces the data seen in the Consumer Price Index last week. On the year, prices fell 6.8%, which is the biggest annual decline on record. Low inflation will keep the pressure off the Fed to raise interest rates and may be a factor in the Fed reiterating its pledge to keep the benchmark interest rate low for an extended period of time. A second report from the U.S. showed that housing starts bucked forecasts of an increase and declined in July to an annualized rate of 581,000. It was the first decline in 3 months and shows that even though the market may have hit a bottom, the housing market will bounce along the bottom at this point. The U.S. economy is still facing pressures from high unemployment, and with banks continuing to limit lending, the housing market recovery will take time. Volatility and other dollar crosses were rather limited today. The dollar-yen saw a rise from its support near the 95.34 level until it ran up against a downward sloping line of resistance, which pushed the pair back down to near where it opened. The U.S. dollar-Canadian dollar pair, one currency pair similar to the pound-yen used to gauge investor risk appetite, fell in favor of the loonie following a test of the 1.11 area in the wake of the U.S. releases. The greenback was unable to move above that point, and with stocks in the U.S. rallying, the loonie managed to move back to the 1.1015 level, the area where the pair ended last week's trading. Tonight, New Zealand posts its producer price index, while Australia will release data on its WMI leading index. Overnight, Japan posts its all-industrial activity index, Germany releases its producer prices, the Eurozone reveals its current account figures, while the UK posts its Bank of England meeting minutes along with its CBI industrial trends orders. Tomorrow, Canada releases data on consumer prices and a measure of leading indicators. And that concludes today's broadcast. Thank you for joining us here at cmsfx.com, and happy trading.